A 14-year-old boy walks into a store, and a little while later, he is running down the street for his life and gets shot in the back.
He didn't steal anything, the sheriff said so himself. And earlier this week, a jury said that the man who chased him down and shot him in the back is not guilty.
And it's June. Juneteenth is right around the corner. And 250 years later, we are still fighting to be seen and treated as human.
So today we talk about Cyrus, talk about our history, tell our own kids what we've had to tell them, which is buckle up because the world is still not one where it feels safe for you to be black. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's a necessary conversation.
Yo parents, yo parents, yo parents and professors. Yo parents, yo parents, yo parents and professors.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Parents and Professors podcast with your favorite Triple C's, co-parents, colleagues, and collaborators. I'm Dr. Michael Stephen Williams.
And I'm Dr. Marjorie Williams. Today's episode is one that we have thought a lot about. You will see and hear that there are really strong feelings about this topic, about the situation, and we think it's an important one to have and one that we want to make sure we get right.
Yeah, we're starting off with the killing of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton in South Carolina and the verdict that just came down. I think it's important kind of in the contemporary social political context to connect it to a lot of things. I think with Juneteenth right around the corner, with the recent amendments that were passed or not passed, awarding Trump a slush fund because of spineless politicians, we're in a place where we have to continue to ask the question, like, how do we live in, raise, and protect black youth specifically, but youth of color more broadly in a country like the one that we live in?
So this is a heavy conversation, a heavy topic, but it's one we need to have in order to really see any change.
Yeah, and we got to figure out how to go past conversation. I think it's a lot. But before we dive in, disclaimer as usual, this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed are our own. Our discussion is based on personal experiences, publicly available information, and general knowledge. And we make every effort to be accurate, but we, especially in this situation, encourage you to seek out and verify the facts for yourself.
We are not attorneys. Nothing we say is legal advice, although we know a lot of attorneys. We are not therapists, though we have our moments. So if you need it, please consult qualified professionals for guidance on whatever your situation might be. And any resemblance in our examples to specific people, organizations, places, you name it, beyond those publicly named is completely coincidental.
Yeah, we're not your mama, we're not your therapist, but we're going to sound like your parents today. This is a different place to be. And I feel like a form of the therapy is talking about it. So I guess it's time to go ahead and get into it.
I wish I had gotten the box of tissues.
Yeah. So keep it together, grouch.
So we wanted to start with the facts of the case. And I think for me, it's really important to ground the conversation there before our discussion. And I think for those of you watching, can clearly see I am feeling very emotional about this story. So Cyrus Carmack Belton, who was 14, was shot and killed on May 28th, 2023, outside of the Express Mart Shell Station on Park Lane Road in Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, Columbia too.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
Yep. Store owner Rick Chow, who's 61, an adult, and his son, Andy Chow, chased Cyrus 130 yards, about the length of a football field, from the store. Rick Chow fired the shot that killed him. The coroner confirmed the fatal wound was to the lower back, consistent with someone running away. He was running away. Two grown men chased a child, and then one of those grown men shot the child in his back as he was running away. He stole nothing. He did nothing. Chow accused him of taking water, a bottle of water. The Richland County Sheriff said plainly there was no evidence he stole anything. And this next part I think is really important. A pistol was found near his body. Prosecutors said it fell out of his pocket during the chase and that he never pointed it at anyone. The defense claimed Andy Chow testified that Cyrus pointed it at him. I just want to go back a couple of steps to him fleeing and being chased and shot in the back.
Yeah, how you point a gun at somebody, you get shot in the back.
So, 4 days ago, on June 1st, a jury found Chow not guilty of murder. Under South Carolina law, a murder conviction requires proving malice. The family rejected the outcome publicly. We do not accept it, is what they said. The family's attorney, Todd Rutherford, who is also a South Carolina House Minority Leader, is pursuing a civil wrongful death suit. So before we get into a discussion, we wanted to share a clip from Nicole Carmack, that's Cyrus's mother, from a press conference, I suppose, after learning about
the memorial.
At his memorial after learning about the verdict. So we're going to play a little bit of that for you.
I don't know what laws that we need to create to help our people, but it needs to be done, and it needs to be done now. Cyrus should not be gone. None of our children should be gone from the acts of racism, from profiling, from any of that. He should be here. And until the world treats us like we are human beings, I mean, come on. Y'all hire us. Y'all want us around. You like our culture. You want to listen to the music. You want to wear our clothes. You want to do all of that stuff. But when it comes to protecting us and when it comes to looking at our children, you look at us as if we are animals, and we are not.
I feel so many things right now. And before we started recording, I was telling Michael that I'm reminded of Trayvon Martin, and we had talked about this before.
He looks like Trayvon.
He actually looks like him.
I thought when I first saw the story that somehow Trayvon was just back in the news.
Oh, when you saw, you saw the picture.
Like you know, there are times, and unfortunately, we live in the age where it's like, oh, that's got to be AI.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that a kid that looks just like Trayvon got shot and somebody went free. And I think that there's so many different layers to the conversation. I think we need to let it unfold kind of as we will. But one of the first things that came to my mind is that people too often think that white people have a stranglehold on anti-blackness. And so when I was like, Rick Chow, like that sounds like it. Let me actually go look. Let me not be racist. Let me not assume that because the last name is Chow that means that this person is of Asian descent. Then you go and you see the whole thing, and it gave me a lot of personal flashbacks, like growing up in the Bay Area, California, growing up in Texas, being followed around stores by people that look just like.
Growing up in New York.
Yeah, and the idea that, so let's say that he did steal your water.
Bottle of water.
Bottle of water is worth chasing somebody down and shooting them in the back? Like, that can't be anything but anti-black racism. Like, it can't be. And if the victims, I am not a read the comments on the internet person typically, because I believe that the stupidity and inhumanity of people is boundless on the internet, especially when they can hide behind their keyboard. Mm-hmm. But to see the number of senseless people that are attacking Nicole because her son got shot
and killed
is crazy to me.
People celebrating the death of a 14-year-old child. Celebrating. Thank God he's dead. It's one less of you. Celebrating it.
And this is the same country that just let Trump develop a white supremacy slush fund.
Where an amendment that was proposed to at least say, hey, can we just, like, those who are convicted of harming police officers, for all of you back the blue folks out there, can we say that at least they don't qualify for this fund? And his lackeys said, no, we are not willing to put any guardrails and any stipulations on who can get this $2 billion.
And did they also keep the little clause where he can never be prosecuted or come after again?
That hasn't even come up at all in the conversation.
It was in there.
Of course, it's still in there.
Yeah.
They got rid of nothing changed. I am frustrated and I am upset and I am so angry. And yes, in 250 years, America's come a long way. Happy birthday to you, America. But we also have patterns of behavior that have not changed.
Oh, Trump is trying to drag us back 250 years. What you talking about?
The thing is, it is not just him. And so I think it's important. And in fact, I would just not name him at all in this conversation because it's not just him. There's a machine behind him. There are people who are actively working to undo our rights. There are people who would look at what happened to Cyrus and encourage it.
They are
actively
celebrating it. They're celebrating that a murderer of a 14-year-old boy went free. There's no other way to understand that. They're celebrating that a murderer of a 14-year-old boy went free. He was shot in the back. There was no threat to your life.
I'm reminded of how I felt when Trayvon's verdict came out. And Maximum was about 1.5, 2 years old.
You know, very young black son.
And I just...
He's still young. He's 15
He's
now,
15.
But he's still young.
He is this could happen to our son.
I mean, given the pocket knife incident recently...
That was not his fault.
Yeah, but still, it's like if...
But yeah, that's a good example, actually.
Yeah.
That's a good example.
Like if you will go to the extremes of violence for the perception of wrongdoing somehow exponentially multiplied by the fact that the person is black.
And at the same time, because I am 100%, I would bet my entire salary for the rest of the year that many of these people saying, oh, well, why did he have a gun? And he must have been a thug and he deserved it because he had a gun, are the same Second Amendment extremists who in the same breath would turn around and call Kyle Rittenhouse a hero.
There is a very clear distinction. Kyle Rittenhouse is white.
So you're only allowed to defend yourself if you're white. I just want us to be clear.
Correct.
Like that's the message.
Yes.
And if you are black, you are a disposable body. You should consider yourself lucky to be here. Got it.
How's that different from every principle that this country was founded on?
It is the hypocrisy of people trying to justify it that is infuriating to me. And justify it as if, like, listen, it's anti-black racism. Just call it what it is.
Do you believe it's hypocrisy?
Because those same people say America's not racist and that they're not racist.
I don't believe that it's hypocrisy because hypocrisy would require them to recognize us as human beings. And so when you see somebody as subhuman, you can easily convince yourself that they don't need rights and they don't get or deserve the same things that you have. I think a lot of these people don't see us as human beings.
I mean, we know they don't.
How could you attack a grieving mother and believe that person to be a human being? How could you have children
and say that to someone else?
I am beyond flabbergasted. Like,
that is horrifying.
The feeling that I felt when I saw this was murderous rage. Like, how dare you? How could you see this as anything other than what it is, which is a gross miscarriage of justice? And the idea that you got to pursue justice civilly?
Right. It's like lawlessness. Like, did we just... There are so many ways and so many instances and so many examples and so many cases that show that this fight isn't over. And I mentioned June and Juneteenth, you know, it's 250 years of American history. And in all that time, black people have always been positioned as the bottom. We've always been positioned as less than. And we've had to fight and build coalitions to gain freedom, to no longer be enslaved, to have amendments passed, 13, 14, 15, ending slavery in America, at least on paper, because the criminal justice system is essentially an extension of it.
Send them to prison.
But that's a whole other conversation.
Get you right back in there.
Here's a fun piece of information that I think particularly a lot of black people don't know or realize. This whole thing about birthright citizenship is such a dangerous conversation. And there are many, and I think especially Black immigrants to America, I think this is interesting because I don't think people realize before that, the law was you can't be a citizen if you're Black. Period. That's it. Who cares if you're born here? You're a darkie. It's not for you.
Yeah, there's so many ways that I don't know how many ways this country needs to prove over and over again that they don't want us here.
You're not a person, so therefore you can't be a citizen. That's what that said.
But
and it's only because of the amendment that you have citizenship as a Black person in America.
There's a piece of what she said, what Nicole said at the memorial that like has been echoing in my mind, and it's about everybody wants to be Black, but nobody wants to be Black. It's her version of it was like, you love our culture, you love our style, you love our. I'm thinking, we're in the NBA finals right now. Like we are the entertainment.
Yeah.
But never fully human.
No.
And I don't know when the outrage is going to reach the appropriate level for there to be collective action. Because the belief now, so I can recognize some of my own probably misplaced optimism. Especially in the wake of this most recent ridiculous, like Republicans just bending over backwards to let Trump do whatever he wants.
They're enriching themselves. It's not just about Trump doing whatever he wants. These people are all enriching themselves.
They're all enriching themselves for sure. But I think that before I had like a level of optimism, like, hey, as long as we get to the midterms and we change things up. But when you get down to it and you look at the lack of leadership in every direction and you look at the lack of morals, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, yo, Trump's going to try to not leave office.
Who's going to stop him?
Yeah, and who's going to push back? Who's going to fight?
one.
Who's going to... Because we're watching injustice after injustice pile up.
And it's the normalization of violence and disregard for anyone who you disagree with or doesn't look like you. And I feel like this case is just another example of how the fight isn't over. And I really wish people would... It's the like, oh, well, this is America and bad things don't happen here. And that's for other countries. It's like, yo, we're only 250.
Bad things don't happen here. Who's a student of history that believes that? Black people have been terrorized in this country the entirety of our existence here.
It's like, well, yeah, but you got to get over that. You got to move on. It's, you have a good life.
You move on to
look at your
continued
house. You're a professor. you have a car. You have a career. You can go anywhere you want. Life is great. So what's the problem?
We got to be very careful about letting the comforts of life inoculate. Or even, really, inoculate isn't it? Because it's not a protection. It's a diffusion, right? So people get diffused like, oh, my life is okay. So like, I'm not going to be standing up for other people.
I am so concerned about the lack of social cohesion and accountability for anything. And I think your point about comfort is right, that people have become so comfortable that it's inertia, right? Like we have no willingness to be uncomfortable. And we talk about the kids all the time. I think socially, adults are no different. We're not willing to be uncomfortable. We're not willing to disrupt the day-to-day of our lives. We're not willing to, and I will say the same thing for myself, to have things be disrupted. Because we know, and we've talked about this before too, for anything to meaningfully change requires disruption, and not just like, we're going to show up and protest. There has to be an economic impact, because that is the only language that people have in common, at least in this country. Anytime anything has worked, it's because there was an economic impact. That's
also when our leaders get murdered. Like as soon as you start doing the populism stuff, that's when those guns get...
Yeah, so I showed you a clip. His real name is Russell Elias. He's like the Jolly Good Ginger or something on Instagram. We'll put the link in the show notes. But he has a whole clip on like, yo, this is a us problem. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a progressive or a conservative or a liberal or a Democrat or whatever you call yourself. This is a social threat to all of us.
I think one of the points that he made that is particularly resonant to me, and it's one that I have failed to articulate as cleanly as I feel like he did. It's the belief in the Democrats, right? So think of all the ways that people are identifying themselves as independent now because the veil is being removed.
Yeah.
Like to be a Democrat is to be a moderate. There's very few people that are actually left leaning. There's like the Bernies and the AOCs. But if you are a status quo politician and this is the status quo, how can we possibly support that?
Again, I'm exhausted.
You're in the pocket of corporations. Everybody's in the pocket of corporations. Wings of the same bird, left and right.
It also makes me feel like, and just like back to the Juneteenth conversation for a minute, I feel like people fail to realize that what gets done to the least of us is essentially a trial run.
I fight against that framing immediately. We are not the least of any fucking thing. What gets done to the people who have been most disempowered? What gets done to
in
the
the
people
words
who have
of
been
Jesus Christ, right?
actively
like,
minoritized?
Yes, but like he says it, right? In the Bible. It's like, yo, like those who are most marginalized, like just, oh, well, that's not me. Or I'm not that, or I'm not this.
Yeah.
I start locking people up. And it's like, oh, we're just going after the criminals. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And then I start locking
Jesus
up.
gets used all the time for people to frame things in a ridiculous
I'm not
way.
saying, let me take a step back because I'm feeling emotional and I realize that you misunderstood my
No,
framing.
I understood and I don't like it. I resist it. And I
don't
think
understand.
that the language that we use matters. I think that the way that we talk about ourselves, there is no greater or lesser human being. They're human beings. The things that happen to the people that have been suppressed and pushed to the bottom, the people that have actively been legislated against, have been murdered, have been terrorized for their entire existence, that's different than saying the least of us. We're not the least of any fucking thing. And I'm tired of people treating us like that. I feel like that's a case in point of the whole issue that we're talking about to begin with. And so I reject that language. Now, I can hear you making your biblical connection. I resist it. I do not rock with that. And I think that that's part of the problem. When people use terms like that, when people reduce people's humanity, even in those slight ways, it's a further normalization of the idea that we don't deserve.
That is not the point that I was making. I hear what you're saying about language. I was trying to quote the Lord. My bad.
You can't quote the Lord. The Lord has never been here.
My bad.
Dan Cook.
I hear I get what you're saying though. I hear what you're saying. I just think that like it escalates, right? So first it's, oh, we're going after criminals and MS-13. Because remember when that was a thing and we're bombing and killing people on the seas, and then we bring it a little closer to home. And now we're just rounding up whoever we feel like. Mad United States citizens and citizens internationally have and are still in ICE detention today. There are American citizens in ICE detention facilities today, right now. What, like, everyone should be protesting.
I mean,
there is no control. That is a problem.
There's so much more that we should be protesting that has become normalized because ninjas are crazy. And so I think...
Well, when you say that, what do you actually mean?
So one of the things is the way that being anti-Israel, killing people and dropping bombs on innocents makes you an anti-Semite somehow, right? Like the conflation of all these different ideas and the normalization of crazy.
And
Trump,
violence.
Yeah, Trump started a war that didn't need to be started. But before that, Palestinians were being murdered and driven out of their land.
We've still not acknowledged the fact that we dropped a bomb on a school full of girls.
Yeah, there's so much wrong. And there's this weird sense of apathy and powerlessness that kind of mixed together in this cocktail where we essentially need it to happen to us to care. But it is happening to us. And we're still not doing anything.
I don't care.
Right? Like, that's the thing that scares me. Probably more than anything else. It's like, how close to home does this have to...
I mean, it's happening though, right?
Yeah, like being emotional about Cyrus is a very easy connection when you're a parent of black children, especially a black boy that's about the same age who could easily be mistaken by a racist for some sort of threat.
And he's dark skinned.
But why should it take that? Like, with any appreciation of history, with any appreciation of what's actually taking place in this country, with any appreciation of what has taken place historically, what do we need to see that isn't happening already that's going to wake the masses up?
I think part of the challenge, and this gets back to what we were saying earlier about, and I think the point you're making is like complacency, right? And the American exceptionalism, and well, this can never happen here, and we have rights, and we have the Constitution, and First Amendment, Second Amendment, all of these things that people depend on. And I think what black people experience, and many people are now learning, is that freedom on paper does not guarantee freedom in practice. And so the law might say something, I think in the case of Cyrus, but what happens in practice is very different. And I think that for Black Americans,
That's why you need critical race theory.
literally, I mean, right? Like,
There's a different justice system for us.
Juneteenth was 1865, 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. So on paper, it was like, hey, y'all's is free. And folks in the South was like, no, you're not. We get to go to war. And then they said, well, we're going to end the slavery thing. But you can still work here, and we'll pay you in made-up credits. And since you're living here now, you owe me, and I'll just take it out of what I'm not paying you. So in practice, what changed? And then they said, okay, well, you can be a person now with the 14th Amendment. And on paper, it says equal protection on the law. We're all treated equal. I think we all know that's not true.
It's a joke.
It is.
You know what I think? It's not different. When you download a new app on your phone and there's like pages and pages and pages of terms and conditions that nobody actually reads, you just hit accept and keep it pushing.
No one's reading the terms and conditions of
Nobody's
America.
reading the terms and conditions of America. Like everybody just accept. Like, and in there it's like anti-blackness, murder, inhumane treatment of anybody who doesn't have money.
It's like, if you are not rich, you're going to take these scraps.
Yeah, nobody's reading the terms and conditions. And even those of us who are aware of the terms and conditions, like how much worse does it have to get?
It is I think it is so, to those who pay attention, to those who care about history, to those who can think critically, to those who can understand connections and how social conditions create, what we claim to detest and abhor in other countries. And I think it's really interesting that while all of this is happening on one side, taking away our rights and denying people equal treatment. And, again, on paper you can vote, but we're going to gerrymander the shit out of this. So like,
the gerrymandering is crazy.
what you want to vote for doesn't really matter.
They're
Suckers.
They're gerrymandering to erase black votes.
Yes.
Like that's,
And they have said so. Like, it's not
it's obvious.
And in fact, one dude said, was this Tennessee or where are they? I think it's Tennessee. Yes, Memphis. So he literally was like, we want the right people representing the state. And it's good men like myself, which I think we all heard the unspoken word, white men like myself. And if we can keep this up, it's a great day. This is the way America should be.
Are they even incrementally eroding rights anymore?
Is it
Like
incremental?
it feels like wholesale.
Well, I think that's the problem, right? So people will say, well, you can still vote. You can still show up.
But your vote means nothing. Like we're taking away. You can. So I am
On paper versus in practice.
I have to be careful because I want to push back against the cynics all my life because I've had people in my space who are like, oh, like why vote? It doesn't matter. And it's like, yes, it does matter.
If it didn't matter, why would they try to take it away?
Yeah, and that's actually, unfortunately, it's a very good test. Like, hey, they don't want you to be able to read. What should you run to do?
Let's defund public libraries. Let's cut that from the budget and instead put it in my $2 billion slush fund to give to my friends. Like,
The resistance is really, the micro forms of resistance are in doing the things that they try to prevent you to do. They don't want you to know your history, so you're obligated to know your history. They don't want you to read, so you have an obligation to read. They don't want you to vote, so you have an obligation to vote. The system has been set up to cheat us.
and rob us.
And kill us.
We don't have money to provide children and families with food stamps, but we have money for a war and a slush fund for rich people who feel like they have been unfairly targeted by the government, i.e. I did a crime and then I got caught doing the crime and then I was punished for the crime and there are consequences for my actions. That's unfair. I deserve money for that. And I think it's all within this context of celebrating and elevating ignorance, and it all feels very concerning.
Elevating ignorance. Say more about that.
So,
Are you just talking about social media or like...
I mean, that's one part of it. But I think platforming ignorance. So I'm often my stories are like,
Fox
I'm in the
News
gym.
exists.
You know where I see, this is where I get my stuff from. So I'm not just like, I don't know. I see Fox News every day I'm in the gym. And there's a new show that is called like America's Dumbest. And the whole point is
did you
to
see
show...
Trump trying to get off a Democrat?
No, I didn't see that.
He tried that.
Like an insult?
He was so self-congratulatory. Like he
He's
really
like, giggle,
thought
giggle, giggle.
he really thought he had
Burn.
bars.
Sick burn.
He was like, so I called him. Like Hakeem Jeffries, he's very dumb, so I call them Democrats. Like I was like, this cat's a child. Like the most powerful political seat on the planet is occupied by an infant. I call them Democrats.
Yeah, like that's.
Oh,
I think the only unsurprising thing is him. He is consistent. Like he just wants attention and glorification, and I want to feel special.
yeah. So hold on, I don't want to get too far off because I think that one of the things
yes.
that's so painful for me about the Cyrus story, so that's where we started, and I want to circle back there, is we're still living in a world where a young black man in particular, but many people of color are seen as a threat before they're seen as a human being. We have countless evidences of that.
Yes.
So what do we do? Like, what do we do? What do we say? What do we pursue to protect the things that are most precious to us?
I really think that we need to actively get outside of our box. And I hate the term identity politics, but I think it is used generally and broadly enough for people to understand. And this idea that if I can't have what I want to accommodate every single little thing about me and my life, then I'm not in, or we can't work together. Or if you don't think what I think, then we can't be on the same side. And I think one of the things that has been done so well by the conservative far-right capitalist movement is pulling people in. It's coalition building. They have got, business people and Christian conservatives and impoverished white people and immigrants who feel like they've done things the right way. They have Hispanic people, they have white people, they have black people. Now, some of those groups are in smaller numbers than others, but there is a large following for not just Trump, because he is a figure.
It's big tent politics,
yes,
but for racism.
And it works. It works.
Racism, sexism, come on in.
Come on in. You have an ism? Come join us. You don't agree with my ism? That's fine. And I feel like there was a skit there where there was a joke. It was like, oh, you'll change your mind eventually. Right? Like, just come on in. And like, maybe it's not the most stable thing, but I think the $2 billion anti-weaponization, I appreciate that people put that in quotes, fund is a good example. There were actually several Republican Congress people who were like, no, this is not okay. That's not, you can't do that. And yet when it came down to voting, they all fell in line. That's masterful.
Yeah, not enough.
To get people to vote against their values?
They don't have values. But
you can't say that across all of the people who vote for Trump that no one has values. That just doesn't make sense, right? Like that's not.
What do you value?
It means that people are willing to put other things above, right? So, trans people is a good one. The fact that there is so much energy over 0.00000000000000001% of the population is mind blowing. And I'm not saying that like.
What do you value if that's the reason that you voted for Trump? Because you're anti-trans,
right? Like that's
no, but like what do you value?
Well, trans people shouldn't be using bathrooms. I want to keep my kids safe. What about guns? Because those are not keeping your kids safe.
You value the safety of people,
or like funding for schools.
Yeah, I'm finding it very difficult.
I'm not saying cognitive dissonance is not a real thing. It is, but I also think that. So back to your question of like, well, what do we do? Big tent. Like people have to get out of this. Like, oh, well, I'm insulted, or you're not respecting my lived experience. Like we are so ticky tacky about nonsense.
Oh, people are soft, yeah.
It's ridiculous, and like doesn't get us anywhere.
We've been taught as a society not to compromise, but not around things that matter.
I'm sorry, say that one more time?
So like if you think about where people are uncompromising, it's not around things that matter.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. And again, the cognitive dissonance is like you're holding in your mind two things that are completely contradictory. Like the idea of like, oh, Trump is sent by the Lord. I don't think we're reading the same Bible.
Well, hold on, because there's an interpretation, and maybe this is like part of the resistance I was offering you earlier, right?
Yes.
So like the least of us, there's an interpretation where it's like, yo, God don't make mistakes. And so like somehow Trump is part of God's plan.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the lesson that he was like trying to, if he's up there, if I'm the Lord, I'm like, that's not, That's not what that was. That y'all know you
Like,
failed that test.
do you think God is giggling? Like, yeah, well, in this
Is
version,
he giggling? Nah,
yeah,
it's
like,
definitely like a forehead,
yeah, you think
palm,
it's face palm?
face palm, like yeah, no, that was
Like, you dummies.
not the takeaway. That wasn't the answer that I was looking for. But y'all got free will, so good luck with that. Like, and we do, right? We have free will, and people are free to make
You know what this
choices.
feels like? You know those like super depressing anime like ReZero?
Oh,
That's what this
just
feels
death,
like. Yeah, like
death,
all
death.
right, we just got to keep doing it over until
So we get it right.
yeah, like when do we get to hit the reset button? Like when is when is the reset button?
I hope in 3 years. But I think again, there is so much I think we can learn from our current circumstances. I think it is that we have relied on the assumption that people will follow the rules. We have assumed that because things in government have always run a certain way, they'll continue to do so. And I think that ultimately we can't depend on anyone else to do the work for us. We can't abdicate our responsibility to be engaged and active citizens in governing. Like, it can't just be show up and vote every 4 years. It can't even just be show up and vote, period. Like, there have to be other ways of engagement. And people are like, well, that's not for me, and I don't feel like doing that, and that's a lot of work. Well, then you get what you get.
How do we teach people how to engage productively?
You know what? I just had a conversation with Macaria, and I recognized I was having a lot of energy. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the takeaway, right? Like, what is the thing that I want you to learn and understand from difficult situations or places where mistakes were made? And it is reflect on what happened and think about how you can solve this problem going forward. And so I think in that same way, like, we need to pay attention to our history. Like, we need to be engaged, and
We need to teach our history. There are too many people who don't know it, and they can't operate from it because they don't know it. Whether it's been suppressed, whether people have, for fear of upsetting, failed to communicate the urgency or the reality of just how crazy some of that history is, we have to teach it for it to be a foundation of future action.
yeah. I mean, so with respect to this situation, we were also talking about sharing the story with the kids, and like, not the video or anything like that, but having a conversation about these are circumstances that happen. And I think it's important to, particularly for Black families and Black children, we have to have these conversations, and it's not to scare our kids, but to prepare them. And I think, like Michael was saying, there's so many things we can point to as examples of, there's some really great things about being an American. Like, I don't want to live in Iran, for example.
I mean,
I don't want to be in Ukraine.
I don't want to be in Palestine.
I don't want to be in Russia. There are lots of
I mean,
places
there are benefits, but I think that we can't let the benefits blind us to.
No, but yes, and that's the other side of it, right? With what is it? With great power comes great responsibility.
Spider-Man, let's go.
And so I think, socially, but also in the messaging that we tell our kids, like, it's important for you to be aware, and it's important for you to be engaged and informed.
Yeah. Well, information should precede engagement.
Yes.
And I think that that's where we're failing right now. So internet generation, social media dopamine hit, you're learning things in 3-second clips instead of reading books.
Yeah.
Like, we need to do more to restore the foundation of what it means to be educated and what it means to be a critical thinker. I think returning to a certain measure of stamina, like reading books, takes a long time. Reading books and then engaging with them critically
And then
takes a
thinking
long
about
time.
it.
Yeah, like sitting with it, thinking about how we apply it. Like, what are the new structures and like intellectual pathways that we're building because we're consuming information that matters, not just jumping into a social media echo chamber where even what you see is so carefully curated because the goal is just to keep you on the thing.
It's engagement. It's not,
And-
for most, it's not about
But even
teaching.
that, like, I think that's another place where words are failing us. Like, think about the word engagement as it relates to social media versus like how you would think about it in a real way.
Addiction.
Yeah.
It's addiction.
Yeah, there's a difference between addiction and engagement. Like, even in the higher education literature, we think about engagement like George Koo. Like, what is the psychological energy, the time and energy and effort that you're putting into your education? We're not asking for engagement now. We're farming addiction.
And I think it's funny because the tech companies, their role model is tobacco. They're like, we want to be the next tobacco. Like big tobacco. That's who they look to.
You gotta start suing the pants off them. They won. What was that? Not too long ago. The
lawsuit against Meta and Google and them.
yeah.
I mean, it's a step.
More's gotta come.
Right. Which means that people have to continue to
If
be
you want to
engaged.
break the addictive cycle, then people are gonna have to attack it the same way that tobacco was attacked. Like, actually, you're killing us, and like you need to put it on the label. Like all of your shorts, like before you log into Instagram, every time it's like, yo, this could be addictive, this could kill you, this could be
can cause
detrimental to your health.
depression,
Yeah,
low self-esteem.
yeah, and people do it anyway. Like it says that
Yes.
stuff on a box of Newport's crazy,
And they'd be like, give me 2.
but at least they're doing it
Informed.
informed.
It's an informed choice. And I, just so much of this can, I think, also feel overwhelming. Like I look at the kids, now I'm looking up at the kids because they're all taller than me. And I just,
They're taller than you.
he's coming for you.
Not well, he'll be there soon enough. But you have to realize, like, I think people have a mistake about that. Like, do you know how excited I am for my son to be taller than me?
Oh, so he can just be tall.
What? Do you know how much easier his life is going to be? Do you know how many
No.
more joints he's going to have
Life
access
is
to?
better for tall dudes.
Yeah, like,
This is a statistical
I
fact.
can't wait. Look, he got broad shoulders and big lips. Like, yeah, I mean, he about to be out here winning, B. Yes, that's my son.
He just got his permit, y'all.
Yeah, driver's permit.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, you could drive at 16 in Missouri. He got his driver's permit now too. Yeah, I mean,
You know what? I think that's a good parallel because so he passed the test. And I thought he wasn't going to because people kept coming out. It was like a room full of people like, I took it 2-3 times
You're
and
doubting
failed.
this man.
And I was like, oh shit, he hasn't studied at all. This girl was like, I studied a whole week. And I was like, he spent like 20 minutes in the car looking at questions.
The boy is
And then he was like, I'm done.
the boy's above average in all the ways that he refuses
is.
to display.
I looked at his grades and was like, I don't want to know how the sausage gets made. I just need to get to the end. Because he had A's and B's. He pulled through. It was A's and B's.
I am tempering my disappointment that it's not all A's because I know what he's capable of.
Nah, son. But compared to where we started, that is
Compared to where we started, it's
Continuous improvement.
So I will admit that the load was heavy
we started from the bottom.
and the road was long.
Now we're closer to here.
Yeah. And I don't want to, what's stuck in my head is the Drake joint, like mid, skip. Like, I don't want to feel like that about your report card. Like, that is not.
Skip.
Yeah, like, I don't want to feel like that about your report card, Playboy. So we're going to need to continue to up the level of effort moving forward. But,
And I do think too, I think I recognize that racism is going to find you as a black person in America.
you can't hide from it. We haven't created all black communities that we need. Like, we need more.
There is one. I don't want to say where it is because in case, the ops are listening, but we should talk about it because it's nice there. Like good thing. It's like their school test scores are great and their quality of life is great.
Racial massacres there have been?
I know, but this one is like a secret. So,
It's not.
but that's why I'm like, I'm not
gonna
naming
find
it. I'm not
Okay.
naming it.
Okay.
Because again, the ops.
Yeah.
Well, all that to say, I recognize that in America, as a black person, there are certain things that no matter what you do, you're going to encounter racism. And I think for our children, part of my desire for them to, be successful, well-rounded, civically responsible and engaged adults is that there's a little bit of protection afforded to you when you have an education, when you have some financial stability, when you can take care of yourself. It doesn't eliminate it. It doesn't erase it. But there are some buffers, right? So when we talk about like, hey, things are going to get bad, but like, we'll be good.
I mean, money gives you options.
It does.
And like education gives you options and employment.
And so, when I think about what does this look like for our kids and like, what is the future for our kids and how can we as adults now help impact that in a positive way? I think it's sharing information. I think it's coalition building. I think we need to stop trying to get people to be perfect. No one is perfect. Our leaders aren't going to be perfect.
Oh, you sound like Scott Galloway talking about my man
Yo.
in Maine. What is it? Planter?
It is. He is actually one of the few candidates who I feel like does what politicians are supposed to do, which is talk about the issues, like the economic state of affairs for the people in Maine.
Yeah. You know what I wish I had was a clip. Oh, I got to show it to you after we get done because we need to wrap this up.
Yep.
But like Josh Johnson had like a stand up about the work that Mom Donnie is doing. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you know what it feels like? It feels like working from home. It's like, remember before COVID when everybody was like, no way, you can't do that.
Oh. And then
it's
we were like,
yeah,
oh,
then we did it. And I was like, oh, well, I guess you can.
you're
And
not
this is
about to catch me in the office ever
yeah, like,
again.
this is actually better and like things aren't falling apart.
Yes.
And we're like, yeah, the government
Yes.
can be used to make people's lives better. And in fact, that's what it should be used for.
Yeah.
And not just the lives of the few with money, but the lives of everybody that pays into and is served by the government.
And again, research shows when we improve everyone's lives.
When you improve the lives of the people that are socially kept at the bottom, it improves everybody's life.
It makes society better.
Yeah, it makes it safer, it makes it better, it makes it happier.
So by not doing that, you're saying you want society to not be better and you want it to be shitty.
Yeah, sun is shining, birds are chirping.
So yeah, we can't depend on government to fix our problems. I think that to me is really important. And so having these conversations with our kids now so that when they become adults, they understand that there's work involved to maintain our rights, to keep communities safe, to, what is it? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of...
That's the Angela Davis, freedom is a constant struggle.
Yes. It's not like a one-time thing.
Nobody's going to let you have it. You have to keep taking it. You have to keep demanding it. You have to keep coming back for it.
And so we have to have these conversations, as uncomfortable as they are. And I think also help, not just our kids, but each other think about where are the places that we can contribute? Because everything isn't for everybody. So I'll say that too. Earlier we're like, everybody should be protesting. I haven't been to a protest in years and I have bad knees. So I'm probably not showing up on anytime soon.
I'm telling your trainer.
So he'd be on me about my knees. He's like, that's why you got to stretch. But I do think that these things matter and we can't outsource them, right? Like we can't just say AI, like how can we make the government respect our rights? Like Claude can't fix this for us.
It's real. I think that's a good place to end. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Sincere, deep love and peace to Cyrus's parents. Cyrus Carmack Belton mattered. His family matters. His community matters. The global community of Black youth matter. Saying his name won't bring him back, but it is another opportunity for us to remember. And that remembering has to include all the sacrifices that have been made to make it possible for us to draw air as free people in this country, and recognition that that fight is not over.
And so, I think our ask is to have these conversations with your kids, with your colleagues, with your friends, with your family. Take a look at our history. It's June. Happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, we have to believe that love conquers fear. We'll see you next time on another episode of the Parents and Professors podcast. Peace. If this conversation resonated with you, do us a huge, huge, huge favor. Like the episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on all our socials. I actually be going crazy on Instagram, so that's the best one.
And please feel free to drop a comment below. Tell us what you liked, what you hated, where you'd like us to dig deeper, or even if you think we missed something. We're always learning and growing, and we want to make sure that we're creating content that resonates with viewers like you.
And most importantly, and this is a huge one, if you know somebody who could benefit from hearing the conversations that we're having on this episode, please share. Sharing is caring. We're doing this for the love and to build a community because it matters.
And at the end of the day, that's the most important part, creating spaces where we can have real, honest conversations about the things that matter to you, education, parenting, relationships, and everything in between.
So thanks for being part of our community. Go check out the catalog of other episodes if you haven't. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Parents and Professors podcast.